Welcome back. Just moments ago, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth was pressed by Senator Jack Reed about the military deployment in Los Angeles. Let's listen.
Well, Senator, we very much support President Trump's focus on defending the homeland on our southern border, as well as supporting law enforcement officials doing their job in ICE in Los Angeles who deserve not to be assaulted, accosted, and rioted while rounding up one of the 21 million illegals allowed in as an invasion under the previous administration.
Are you prepared to authorize DHS to use drones and also to authorize military forces to detain or arrest American citizens?
Senator, every authorization we've provided the National Guard and the Marines in Los Angeles is under the authority of the President of the United States, is lawful and constitutional. They are assisting in defending law enforcement officers and law enforcement facilities.
So the answer is yes.
In the execution of their job.
The answer is yes.
In the city of Los Angeles.
Joining us now, Democratic Congressman Adam Smith. He is the ranking member of the Armed Services Committee in the House. Again, that was a back and forth that just happened in this Senate hearing, Congressman. And the Secretary of Defense did not answer that question directly when asked if this administration could authorize the use of drones or authorize military arresting American citizens. What's your reaction to what we just heard?
Well, look, I think what the president is doing in Los Angeles is very problematic and unnecessary. The calling in of the Guard or any federal forces is only necessary if local law enforcement cannot handle the situation. The LAPD showed up immediately and was, in fact, defending ICE and protecting them from all the things that Secretary Hegseth just said. So there was no necessity. And under the law, the only time that the active duty military or the Guard and Reserve can show up is to prevent a rebellion or an invasion. Neither one of those things were present. And the other big piece of this, and what Senator Reed was trying to get at, is the Posse Comitatus law makes it clear that U.S. military cannot be engaged in domestic law enforcement except if the president invokes the Insurrection Act, which he has not done. So that's what Senator Reed was getting at. But look, the big point here is President Trump is trying to turn the United States military into his personal police force. There was no need for this in Los Angeles. The president's trying to set a precedent, again, as he has in so many other areas, to expand his executive power at the expense of the law and at the expense of the Constitution.
How big of a threat is that, using his personal police force, turning the military into his personal police force, as you have said?
I think it's pretty big. I mean, if he can call them out for, I think it was a couple hundred protesters originally when this whole thing started, and ICE was not stopped from doing their job. They were arresting and deporting people. They were in no way stopped from performing their duties. If the president can call, and keep in mind, 4,000 Guard and Reserve members and 700 Marines. So he sent 4,700 U.S. troops into Los Angeles for a couple hundred protesters that were already being dealt with by the Los Angeles Police Department. Now, look, I fully agree with the fact our borders should be secure, our laws in our cities should be enforced. And I don't think a number of cities across the country did a great job of that in the last 5 or 6 years. But that's not what this is about. The president is using this power to expand his authority, to expand his executive power, again, at the expense of the law and the expense of our freedom and our rights.
In an interview, House Speaker Mike Johnson was asked about the violence and the response there in Los Angeles compared to January 6th. And he says, quote, "There's a very clear distinction between the two. People who broke the law and destroyed property on January 6th were met with the proper consequences on that." Congressman, is that how you see it?
Well, that's actually quite funny because the President of the United States pardoned every single one of them. They were not met with any consequences under this president. Under the previous president, they were. Under this president, they were pardoned. They were allowed to. And that, by the way, was an actual insurrection. Those forces showed up at the U.S. Capitol to try to overturn the election and install their chosen president. That is an absolute definition of an insurrection. 100 or so people showing up in Los Angeles to protest the president's immigration policies. Not an invasion, not an insurrection. So Speaker Johnson is just laughably wrong in trying to make, well, he's right in one thing. There is no comparison between what happened in Los Angeles that happened on January 6th. January 6th was 1,000 times worse and actually warranted a federal response, which President Trump at the time refused to do for hours as his supporters sacked the United States Capitol.
And the National Guard was not deployed in that situation. The Pentagon now estimates that the deployment of the National Guard and the Marines to Los Angeles will be about $134 million. A drop in the bucket when it comes to the defense budget, but $134 million. What's your reaction to that amount?
Look, and that is just the tip of the iceberg. The president plans on using the troops for a variety of different missions. What he's done at the border has cost billions. In fact, he's just announced that he's taking $1 billion out of military construction, money that we set aside to actually improve and build barracks for our service members. He's taking $1 billion out of that to put more money into border security. And keep in mind, as of this moment, President Trump is telling us that the border is secure. And I don't really disagree with him on that. There have not been much in the way of border crossings. So why is he raiding the Department of Defense to the tune of another $1 billion for a border that's already secure? Again, I really want to emphasize the president is consolidating power in himself as the executive, violating the law, violating the Constitution, and using the United States military in a way that our country has spent 200+ years trying to make sure it was never used, because we wanted to be a civilian-run country and a free country, not one where the military shows up and arrests people on the streets of our cities.
Congressman Adam Smith, thank you for joining us. I appreciate the conversation.